Maplewood, a peaceful town tucked deep in the heart of Oregon, was the kind of place where people left their doors unlocked and everyone knew everyone. With its pine-covered hills, single-lane roads, and cozy diners, it looked like something out of a postcard, until the night of October 14th, 2021, when everything changed. It began with a 911 call just after 2:37 a.m. A trembling voice whispered, "There's blood." "So much blood. I think she's dead." The dispatcher tried to calm the caller, but the line went dead before they could ask for the address. Thankfully, the system traced the call to 1429 Alder Street, a small house near the woods. Within minutes, 2 patrol cars arrived, Officers Miller and Davis. They expected a domestic disturbance, maybe a fight gone wrong. What they found instead would haunt them for the rest of their careers. The front door was slightly ajar. A faint metallic smell filled the air. When Officer Miller pushed it open, his flashlight revealed a narrow hallway and bloody footprints leading to the living room. The room looked like a storm had torn through it. Furniture overturned, glass shattered, curtains ripped from the wall, and on the carpet, half covered by a blanket, was the body of a woman in her 30s. Her name was Hannah Cole, a nurse at Maplewood General Hospital. She was beloved in town, known for volunteering at shelters and taking care of everyone else's problems before her own. But now, she was unrecognizable. Her face was bruised, her hands tied with electrical wire. There were deep cuts across her arms and torso. One of her eyes was swollen shut and her lips were split open. A kitchen knife lay beside her body, its handle wiped clean. Officer Davis turned pale. "Jesus Christ." The detectives arrived 30 minutes later. Detective Sarah Lang, a seasoned investigator known for her calm under pressure, and Detective Tom Alvarez, her younger partner. They'd seen plenty of gruesome cases, but as they stepped into that living room, even they froze. Sarah whispered, "Who could do something like this?" The coroner estimated time of death around midnight. There were signs of a struggle, defensive wounds on Hannah's arms, broken fingernails, and bruises indicating she fought hard before dying. The window in the kitchen was shattered, suggesting forced entry. But what struck the detectives most was what wasn't there. No fingerprints, no footprints other than the victims, and no sign of robbery. Her wallet, phone, and jewelry were untouched. "This wasn't random," Sarah said. "Whoever did this came for her." They canvassed the neighborhood, knocking on doors until dawn. One neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, said she heard a woman scream around midnight, followed by a car engine starting. "It sounded like a man shouting," she added. "But I didn't see anyone." Detectives began to piece together Hannah's last hours. She had worked the evening shift at the hospital and clocked out at 10:46 p.m. Security footage showed her walking alone to her blue Honda Civic. She drove straight home, no stops, no detours. But when her phone records came in, something caught their attention. At 11:52 p.m., she had received a call from a blocked number that lasted just 42 seconds. Whoever called her might have been the last person she spoke to. 2 days later, Detective Alvarez uncovered something unexpected, a set of love letters hidden in Hannah's nightstand. They were written in elegant handwriting, signed only as J. The letters revealed an intense secret affair. "You make me feel alive," one read, "but they can never find out about us. Promise me, Hannah." Sarah frowned. "Who's they? And who's Jay?" They traced Hannah's text messages and emails. One name kept recurring, Dr. Jason Miller, a married doctor who worked the same night shifts as her at the hospital. When questioned, Dr. Miller appeared nervous but denied everything. She was a colleague. "Nothing more," he said, avoiding eye contact. "I have a wife and 2 kids. I'd never risk that." But his phone records told a different story. He'd called Hannah dozens of times in the past month, always from the hospital or a burner number. The blocked call on the night of her death came from a prepaid phone purchased near the hospital. Detectives brought him in again. "You were the last person to call her," Sarah said. "You can't lie your way out of this." Jason's voice trembled. "I called her, yes, but it was to end things. My wife found out. Hannah was threatening to tell her everything. I begged her not to. Then what happened? I hung up. That's it, I swear." But as he spoke, sweat dripped down his forehead. His hands shook. Sarah could tell he was hiding something. The forensic team scoured Hannah's house for more clues. A partial shoe print, men's size 11, was found near the kitchen window. DNA from under her fingernails matched an unknown male profile. But the most chilling discovery came 3 days later when the tech team unlocked Hannah's laptop. There was a folder titled, "If Something Happens to Me." Inside were screenshots of text messages between her and Jason. In them, he admitted to lying to his wife and even hinted at violence. One message read, "If you ruin my life, I'll make sure you regret it." The detectives got a warrant to search Jason's car and home. In his garage, they found a pair of torn gloves, one with a trace of Hannah's blood on it. Jason was arrested. During interrogation, Jason broke down. He admitted to the affair, but maintained he didn't kill her. "She was alive when I left her house," he said. "We argued, yes, but she was fine when I walked out. Someone else must have come after me." Sarah didn't believe him, but something about his words gnawed at her. If Jason had killed Hannah, why would he leave behind so much evidence of their affair? And why was her phone missing? The killer had taken it, perhaps to hide something. Then came another twist. A new fingerprint was found on the kitchen counter, one that didn't belong to Jason or Hannah. It matched Ethan Cole, Hannah's younger brother. Chapter 7. The brother's secret. Ethan was 25, a mechanic with a history of drug use and petty theft. When detectives questioned him, he seemed anxious but cooperative. "Yes, I was there," he admitted. "Hannah called me that night crying. She said her boyfriend, the doctor, was threatening her. She told me to come over. When I got there, she was already dead." "Why didn't you call 911? Sarah asked. He hesitated. "Because I panicked. I'd been in trouble before. I thought they'd blame me." Ethan's alibi was shaky. He claimed he arrived around 12:30 a.m., but neighbors heard a car leaving earlier than that. When they searched his apartment, they found a bloody shirt hidden behind the washing machine. The blood matched Hannah's DNA. Detectives thought they had their killer until the autopsy report came in. Hannah's time of death wasn't midnight, it was 12:42 a.m., meaning she was alive when Ethan claimed he arrived. A week later, a local teenager walking his dog in the woods behind Hannah's house found something half buried in the dirt. A cell phone. It was Hannah's, her case cracked, her screen shattered. Detectives managed to recover the data. The last video recorded was at 12:39 a.m., just minutes before she was killed. The footage was shaky. The camera pointed toward her living room. Hannah's terrified voice could be heard. "Jason, please stop. Don't come any closer." Then a man's voice replied. "But it wasn't Jason's. It was Ethan's. Why couldn't you just keep your mouth shut?" he shouted. "You ruined everything." A struggle followed. The video ended abruptly. Detectives stared at the screen in silence. Sarah's hands trembled. Even Alvarez, who'd seen hundreds of crime scenes, turned away. It wasn't just the brutality, it was the sound of pure betrayal. When confronted with the video, Ethan broke down completely. He confessed everything. He had been stealing prescription drugs from the hospital through Hannah, who worked in the medical wing. When she decided to come clean to the authorities, Ethan begged her not to. She refused. She wanted to make things right. So he came to her house that night to stop her from testifying. They argued. She threatened to call the police. In rage, he snapped. "I didn't mean to kill her," he sobbed. "I just wanted to scare her, but the evidence showed otherwise." He'd brought a knife. He'd wiped the prints. He'd staged the scene to look like a robbery. Even Jason, who had every reason to hate Hannah, was shocked when he learned the truth. Ethan was arrested for first-degree murder. The trial lasted 4 months. The courtroom overflowed with townspeople, reporters, and Hannah's colleagues. The prosecution painted Ethan as a manipulative addict driven by greed and fear. The defense claimed it was an accident, but the jury didn't buy it. Ethan Cole was found guilty of murder in the first degree and sentenced to life in prison without parole. When the verdict was read, even Detective Alvarez, the tough, unshakable cop, wiped a tear from his eye. Hannah had spent her life helping others, and in the end, it was her kindness that destroyed her. Detective Sarah Lang stood outside the courthouse that evening, watching the rain fall. "You know," she whispered, "in all my years I've never seen anything like this." Alvarez nodded. "I've seen people die for money, revenge, jealousy, but not like this. This one feels different." Sarah looked at the photo of Hannah from her hospital ID, smiling, full of light. "Sometimes," she said quietly, "evil doesn't come from strangers. It comes from the people who say they love you." Months later, the case still haunted Maplewood. The once peaceful town carried scars that time couldn't heal. People still left flowers at the gate of 1429 Alder Street, a house now empty, its windows boarded, its garden overgrown. Every detective who worked that case said the same thing. They could handle blood, violence, and cruelty. But what broke them wasn't the crime itself. It was listening to Hannah's final words, pleading for mercy from her own brother, and realizing that sometimes the human heart is the darkest crime scene of all. And that's why, for the first time in their careers, the detectives cried,